Alright, this is Observious bringing you guys another League of Legends commentary, and this time I'm going to be doing one over Trundle, the Cursed Troll. So here's the pregame. Going to go ahead and break down the champion a little bit before I go into the game itself, show you guys the champ select, and see this thing through. So, going to go ahead and show off Trundle and his abilities and all of that. He is cursed. His whole storyline thing is that, he got the entire tribe's curse put on him by himself because he has such mad regeneration, which makes me wonder if his regeneration is really high naturally to counter that, but I don't know. Maybe the curse counteracts it, and so it's just normal regeneration. I don't know. Thinking too much. Anyways, he's Trundle. He's a cursed troll. He's a bruiser. And, oh no, he's a bruiser. That means one, if you're half the people on the forums, he's overpowered, or two, he just doesn't belong in the game at all, period. Yes, he's a weird guy. Bruisers just means that you're weird because you have average health, you're not a tank, but you're not a squishy, so you have average health. You have uber powered attack because you're melee, so you have to walk up to their faces and whack them, and if you have to walk all the way up to their faces, you better hit them hard. And he has weak spells because he's not a caster. And so his difficulty is medium because he's not someone you can just, walk up to someone and go whack, 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 die, die, die. Sort of, you can do that, but it takes some setup to do that. And he's not, someone that's extremely hard to use like, say, Anivia. I think Anivia has a higher skill cap, or Cassiopeia, if you're with the people that say she isn't underpowered and that she just needs some work. So, or not underpowered, but needs more skill. Alright, going into his abilities, Rapid Bite. So this is your bread and butter skill. As it says over here, he bites his opponent, dealing damage and sapping some other attack damage. So what this means is that you're going to do a base amount of attack, depending on the level of the skill, plus, your base attack, or whatever your attack is, I think. And then it's going to reduce their damage by half of how much damage you get. So at max level you get 40 damage and it will reduce their damage by 20. So ideally you want to use this on mobs that, hit harder, like cannon minions, obviously, just to make your wave a little bit stronger, or use it on AD champions in team fights, preferably. Contaminate. He infects a target location with his curse, he gets attack speed, he gets move speed, he gets crowd control reduction. It doesn't actually do anything to enemy champions, it doesn't do anything for your allies. If it did something for your allies, I think it might be overpowered. Maybe, I don't know. But Contaminate is pretty awesome. So, basically, use Contaminate and suddenly you become silly. Because attack speed, that's awesome. Move speed helps you run away, helps you chase. Crowd control reduction. Oh, you think you were going to escape me and so you stunned me? Well, that stun had a lot, reduced duration. Or slowed, got reduced. Etc. It's a lifesaver. Contaminate. Pillar of Filth. This is your initiate, this is your getaway, this is kind of like Contaminate, but it's basically giving everyone the stone finger. What it does is, if you landed on top of them, they'll get knocked back for a little bit and they'll slowly move out, and then they'll be in the slow that's around it, and they won't be able to escape. He creates a plagued beacon at target location, becoming impassable terrain and slowing all nearby enemy units. If you're, say, going to go gank somebody, what you want to do is you want to drop your Contaminate on the spot that you think they're going to run away on, and then drop the Pillar of Filth, put that in the way of wherever they're running, so that way they have to run around it and stay in the slow, because there's a little slow area around them, and, catch up to them that way. Also, if enemies are chasing you, like say there's a guy that's whacking you in the back, you can put it right between you and the enemy, and then he'll have to run around it, and he's slowed unless he's maybe Yi, in which case you're dead anyways, I guess. And, you can use it to save teammates and all of that, as well as it gives you vision inside bushes and things like that. So, you can, drop it over walls and go, oh yeah, look, their team is over there. Let's laugh at them. So if you see a Pillar of Filth pop up next to you and you're all waiting in the bush, that means they have vision of you. He wasn't just dropping it because he wanted to. Agony. Alright, he immediately steals his target's health and percent of their armor and magic resistance. Over the next 6 seconds, it's doubled. So, basically, he does damage and the target loses armor and magic resist, and he gets armor and magic resist. And over the next 6 seconds, it does damage over time, and it takes away more armor and magic resist. That's the same amount that he took last time. So it's kind of like an Ignite, if you want to play it that way. It's his only ranged ability. Well, damage dealing ability, I should say, since you can obviously cast Pillar or Contaminate at range. But it's his only ranged damage dealing ability, so if someone's getting away with barely any health, you can cast Agony to help burn away their last amount of health. You can cast it, preferably in a team fight, say, on the tanks. That way you get all that armor and magic resist that they've been spending their money on. So that way you become really buff and tanky. And, you can just use it to put on their carry as sort of like a, hey, kill this guy, because he has no armor or magic resist now, muhahaha, etc. Also, if you're getting attacked, you can, frantically cast and, can't say anything. You can frantically cast Agony onto the person that's chasing you, thereby making you a little bit more tanky and maybe scaring them off. Not really, but hey, a little bit more tankiness when you're trying to escape can help. So you can see tips. He excels at fighting within his Contaminate zone. Try to draw enemies onto it. I feel like this is one of the most obvious things in the game. Like, how do you draw enemies onto it? You should be casting Contaminate on top of them, and then if they've run out of it, you chase them through it. I mean, I don't know. That's the whole why it gives you move speed thing for when they try to escape the Contaminate zone. Use Agony to soften a powerful enemy tank or create a target for your team to focus fire. We went over that. Rabid Bite's good for lowering the physical damage of enemies. Try to focus on enemy physical damage dealers. We already said that. So playing against Trundle, he's very powerful at location-based combat. Try to draw him off of his Contaminate zone. So basically, when Trundle casts his Contaminate, the idea is it's not really a team fight. Your team just needs to move back and bait them into a bigger team fight that's somehow more in their favor. I don't know. But hey, if Trundle's trying to 1v1 you, run back to your team like you were going to bait him anyways, and this way the tips, agree with you. Make sure to get out of his Pillar of Filth as quickly as possible, as it significantly slows you down. I feel this is extremely obvious also, but hey, tips are tips, because if you want to stand in a slow that also, blocks one direction you're moving in, be my guest. I have no idea. There's his whole story thing. You can go read it if you just look at the game or go up to the website. He does have the 2 skins he came out with. You can see that. Here's the classic skin. So, that's the champion. Going to go peek over at runes. I did go ahead and replace my dodge setup with a setup mainly for jungling with Trundle, as if you're not jungling with Trundle, you can lane with him, but it's weird. So, this is what you're going to be doing with him. You're going to be going Armor Pen, Quints, flat damage, attack. You can switch out the Quints and marks depending on how you prefer jungling. I recently switched my seals to armor, 1 because they're cheaper, and 2 because I need it to jungle with a lot of champions. But I figured it's more consistent for the sakes of recording instead of dodge, even though I haven't really had a RNG issue with dodge on Trundle. Now, for blues, some people say, go cooldown reduction with Trundle, you must get it. So, I got 1 glyph on cooldown reduction just to cater to those people, and then I kept the rest as magic resist. Like, oh, why didn't you go full cooldown reduction? Because they're 8-10 IP, and I don't have cooldown reduction runes yet, besides that one that I got a long time ago. So, I figured, hey, I'll get 1 cooldown reduction rune, and I'll keep the magic resist, because, admittedly, he does need some tankiness versus them casters. So, that brings us over to Masteries, just going down the tabs. And for this, I do go 2109. You will see 0219 Trundles because they want to be tanky because they're a bruiser, and Trundle will get a lot of, attacks thrown at him. But hey, I like 2109 because if he's going to be a bruiser, if he's going to get in melee range, he better hit like a truck. So, and going in that direction, get deadliness. That gives you 2% more crit strike. You're not really needing the IP AP because it only goes towards your ultimate, I believe, ultimate damage. Plentiful Bounty improves smite. Greed is arguably better, but the reduced smite cooldown does help now and then. And hey, you need 4 points over here. You only can put 9 here. So some people instead might go some weird mix, and they'll get greed. But I'll get improved smite. Sorcery. Mainly choices between getting sorcery or getting lethality. I like 3% reduced cooldowns because, hey, people have been saying get cooldown reduction, so why not? Versus lethality, getting more crit strike damage. It does make him do more damage, but until I decide, hey, I'm rushing a Phantom Dancer on Trundle, or hey, I'm getting an Infinity Edge, or something that, is crit based, I don't think I'm going to get lethality. But that's a personal preference if you want to go sorcery or lethality. I get attack speed because, hey, 4% attack speed is pretty awesome. Sunder, armor penetration, damage to minions. You are a jungler. You better get that damage you deal to minions. Brute force, relatively simple to explain. You get more attack damage. Helps you out jungling, helps you out ganking, and havoc. More physical and magic damage by 5%. For the 9 over here in utility, it's fairly jungle standard. You don't have to get improved ghost. I get improved ghost because I'm carrying ghost as my 2 skills, in case you didn't notice, are smite and ghost. Get perseverance, helps with health and mana regeneration, kind of needed because every point of health you get back, every point of mana you get back is noticed in the jungle. Awareness, max experience that you get, because if you don't have max awareness, you're not going to hit level 4 by the time you clear the jungle the first time. Not unless you leech some minions or something. And I get Utility Mastery to increase the duration of neutral monster buffs. It sounds kind of weird if you haven't really been jungling that much. Like if you're just now getting into it, like, oh, why don't I get Greed? Why don't I get Mana Regeneration? Both of those sound good. But Utility is actually what you want to get, at least with Trundle, because he is very blue buff reliant. And red buff is just awesome. So you kind of just want to keep your buffs for as long as possible as Trundle. I'm not going to speak for the other jungler champions because it could be a matter of opinion. Anyways, so that's that. Let's go ahead and queue up. Alright. Summoner's Rift, Blind Pick. This all looks rather good. Let's match me up with some teammates and let's get in this queue. Alright, so level 30 and all of that. Looking over a friends list. Hi guys, let's play now. So hopefully no one else will pick Trundle. Ooh, Instalock Jax. Well, he's either going to be epic or he's going to be an epic fail. So I have seen, oddly, I go Ghost Ignite, but I've seen a few Jax going Ghost Exhaust, and now I got to make a frowny face. Can I have the jungle? I'll ask. But, hey. Alright, thank you. So, gonna go ahead and lock in. So, sweet, got the jungle. Not gonna have to end recording and all of that. Lane Wick for the win. Lol. :P. Alright, so let's go ahead and see what's going on. Warwick and other healing champions actually are fairly strong, at least in Twisted Treeline, and sometimes in Summoner's Rift, although you won't see it too much. But healing champions are actually fairly strong solo lanes, because obviously they can heal themselves. So you harass them and they're like, I laugh off your harassment, heal! So that's pretty cool. Meanwhile, Garen's like, I want the solo lane. So that's kind of mean of him. I kind of feel that, hey, Garen should be a duo lane, because he has so much CC. Couple him with, like, say, Teemo, even though we need Teemo to be solo mid, I think. We'll see what's going on. So, gonna have my rune set up, gonna have my spell set up. It doesn't look like too much people are saying anything besides Lane Wick for the win. We'll see if making that was the good choice. And I'll go ahead and see you guys in the next part. So, let's see. 4, 3, 2. Yep, this is Observious, ending recording. Hope you guys enjoyed the pregame.